Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. All right, let's get right into the markets. So, as you guys can clearly see here in this cluster of lines or trend lines, we have very significant levels of resistances. So first of all, we have 437, 435.50, 435, and then 433.50. And as seen on last Friday's candlestick, we have rejected 435, and then we have also rejected 433.50 as a level of support. And so with all of these four levels of resistances, there is a high chance that we can actually continue to pull back to the downside. Now, first of all, we have been seeing a very good textbook pullback to the downside. But I do have to warn you guys that there is a gap that we have not yet filled right over here. And so at some point, SPY will fill in that gap. And also, you guys cannot forget that we do have another gap all the way down here. And so again, there's still that long-term possibility that we can come back down to fill in this gap and then retest 420. That can come in the next few weeks or even the next few months. Why next few months? Well, I'm not expecting a huge market crash to the downside. We've seen last week that we've been having a very textbook pullback to the downside, and I expect that to continue, and I expect a lot more consolidation to come in with that pullback. Now, in a more immediate perspective, I expect the market to continue to pull back come tomorrow, and there's a chance that we can break below Friday's low of the day, which was at 432.47. And if that does happen, there's a chance that we can come back to the next most recent level of support sitting at 429.50, or even there's a possibility of us coming right back down to this 428 whole number level. Now I'm expecting the price to bounce around, I would say 429.50, because if the price does indeed come back down here to this 429.50 area, we can see the daily 21 SMA catching up and then coinciding at this 429.50 level. Now, obviously, the more established level will be 428. So if we do not hold 429.50, and if we don't hold the retest of this daily 21 SMA, if we do see it coinciding with this level, we can see a break below that and come back down to retest 428 as the significant hard level support before we see a significant bounce back to the upside. But so far, make sure you guys remember that we are in a pullback, a very textbook pullback at that. Okay, so those are your levels to be watching out for. And again, if you make any attempts to bounce this week without even retesting any of the support levels down here, you guys have to remember that we have very significant levels of resistances, these myriad or clusters of levels right up here. Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a look at our first name, Lowe's. So instead of looking at this one on the daily time frame, first let's take a look on the weekly time frame. So with Lowe's here, we have quite a nice base, just like with the other industrial names, or specifically construction names, right? And so Lowe's here has been making a very macro base, specifically an ascending triangle chart pattern. And basically what this means is that, well, this name is ready for a very bullish breakout. However, due to the fact that the market has been pulling back, there is a chance that we won't see a breakout soon out of the 219.50 level of resistance, which is the major level of resistance, and it consists of the ascending triangle chart pattern here. And so again, we have this ascending support trend line, and then we have this 219.50 resistance level that makes up this entire ascending triangle chart pattern or base. Now, with all that in mind, okay, if you go back to the daily time frame, we are seeing continued momentum to the upside. How do we know this? Well, last week on Thursday and Friday, we were able to hold this 214 level of resistance on a daily time frame as new support, and we're able to come back and close over the daily 10 SMA, which is my red line right over here. And so if you're able to see an entry point this week, if you're able to see a continued momentum to the upside, and if you continue to hold over this daily 10 SMA, a good entry for the long side will be 216.10, or just simply over the previous high of the day, which was 216.40 on Friday. That means you guys can simply round up to the whole number at 216.50 and make that your secondary entry point, or just your first entry point if you do not want to get a riskier and earlier entry at 216.10. Now there is that level of resistance at 219.50, so that can be your first potential target, or you guys can simply focus on the weekly time frame and then use 219.50 as your first entry point if you want to avoid all the volatility and fuzz that will occur between anything between 214 and 219.50, or just simply anything under 219.50. All right, so that was our first name. Let's take a look at our second name here. So HD, or Home Depot. Now you guys know that we've been looking at this name for almost a month now, especially after we had this very nice move to the upside after we saw that this name has been forming a double bottom. Now, hilariously, it's forming what looks like a butt here with the left cheek and the right cheek over here, but that's what a double bottom looks like, or we sometimes like to call it a W chart pattern. So this is the W here, all right, okay, and so now we're forming this top right chart pattern here, this bullish pennant, and this is the pennant or the flag, and then we have our flagpole right over here, which creates that bull pennant, bull flag chart pattern. And so with this in mind, all right, there is a chance that this chart pattern may be a bit too obvious and sellers might come in strong, as we saw a very, very large volume on Friday. But again, it was 2 weeks ago. This was OPEX. So don't get fooled by this large red selling volume bar here. And instead focus on the fact that we had a pretty good volume on Friday of last week. And there is a chance that we can actually hold over this $301 level that has been a huge crux to the buyers here. And I love the fact that we've been getting tighter and tighter and tighter price action. And I've been telling you guys this and mentioning this multiple times last week and even last week, as I told you guys that I was expecting the price range to tighten. And indeed we are, as we are forming this bullish bull pennant chart pattern. And so with this setup, going to this new week, I just want to see a simple hold over $301. So let me do this live here for you all, because I usually don't do this. So long over or long bounce at 301.10 for confirmation. That 0.10 is for confirmation always. And now with that in mind, okay, if you guys want to avoid any type of volatility at that 300 to 301 range, that price range, since $300 is a psychological level, okay, oops, let me go on the 2-hour time frame, okay, and take a look at the intraday levels. So we have this descending level of resistance here, and so if you want to see an entry point above that, then I would say a confirmed entry point will most likely be somewhere around $303. Why? Well, first of all, on the intraday time frames, this 303 level has been a level of resistance and support as seen in this area and around this area. Okay, and also if we're above or around 303, I would expect the price to be over this descending level of resistance. Okay, so it might look something like this. All right. Okay, and you see how we are over this descending level of resistance. Okay, and so that would mean that a breakout is underway for this bullish chart pattern. So if you go back, right, let's add that entry point here, long over 303.15. Okay. All right, so that is your entry point for HD, or entry point. Now, our first profit target will be somewhere around 306, since that is the area where we've been seeing a lot of resistance, and in the past it has been used as a level of hard support, okay, back in late 2022. Okay, so our third name here is TJX. Okay, so TJX, this one is pretty simple. All right, so with this name, we have been seeing a lot of big money piling into this name since late last year, or I would say Q3 and Q4 of last year. And so far, they've been holding and holding and holding. So TJX looks like it has that momentum to continue to move to the upside and ultimately hit all-time highs. All right, so on this monthly time frame, we've been seeing pretty great growth, just higher highs and higher lows consistently. And so with that longer term perspective in mind, if you go back on the daily time frame, we have been making a very textbook base, or even a textbook bull flag. Right, but with this overextension here, I would personally say that it is not a bull flag anymore, and instead it's a very nice flat base, a very textbook flat base. So again, you guys can call it a bull flag, you know, with this initial momentum breakout to the upside being the flagpole, and then the entire base here being the flag. But again, for me personally, it's a bit subjective here at this point, but I would say this is a very textbook flat base with a level of resistance at 82.50 and a level of support at $76 flat. And so that will be our entry point here. A very clean entry point over $82.50, which at that point will be the all-time high price, right? Because again, the all-time high price is shown right here at $82.47. So 3 more cents higher and we will get our entry point and our new all-time high price point. Okay, so this one should be pretty simple, as we've been seeing very good consolidation here all of last week, and we are continuously riding over the 10 SMA and holding the 10 SMA. And I love the fact that this retail company has had an increase in volume on Friday as well, just like I mentioned on the market summary section. So again, if you guys are looking at this technical analysis video first, I highly recommend you guys to go back to the market summary first. Okay, so pause this video and read the market summary first before you get into the technical analysis video. I recommend you guys do that for every single week. All right, so for this name, I don't really have any profit targets here because I don't have any levels to work off of or previous levels. So I would say that the next level you guys should be looking at for the first profit target will be either 84 or even 85. So around, I would say, $3 from the entry point. Okay. Now, if you guys are looking for a longer term profit target, I would say $90 would be a great level to be looking for this name as a longer term profit target. All right, so our fourth name here is Google. So I know that the entire tech market has been leading this entire run up to the upside and this short squeeze to the upside. So I do know that the Qs need a little break. So that means Google will have a lot harder time with any type of breakouts or any type of long entries. However, there is an opportunity waiting for us on this name. So this one has been holding very, very well. You guys can see that we have been seeing some very good consolidation for the past month or so. And just last week, we have a pretty good combination here of candlesticks. So first of all, on Thursday, we have a bullish engulfing candlestick here, right? It's completely engulfing the price range that was formed on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we got an inside candlestick, right? So we have a combination of a bullish engulfing, which indicates that there's going to be a potential reversal to the upside. And we have an inside day candlestick, which is telling us that, yes, a continuation of the current trend will continue. And what is the current trend right now on every single time frame? Well, an uptrend, right? Especially the daily, weekly, and even the monthly time frames, right? We're all in an uptrend. And so if we base it off on the daily time frame, just daily time frame wise, this inside day candlestick is telling us that we are indeed ready for a reversal to the upside out of this current consolidation phase. And so if I add more trend lines here, okay, it seems like we're forming a falling wedge. So we have this resistance trend line and we have this descending support trend line. So we have a descending resistance trend line and descending support trend line. And so, at some point we are going to break out of this descending channel or falling wedge. I mean, it depends on whether or not the price continues to conform to these trend lines until at some point the price decides to, get really, really tight. And then at some point, okay, the trend lines start to converge at some point. Who knows, right? The trend lines can change. Okay, so this could happen and we can see a falling wedge happening or forming. But for now, okay, we will stick to a descending channel. Okay, now the earlier the better, right? If the breakout is a lot earlier and we see a breakout from this descending channel, it'll be better for us, right? We can get our entry points that I've shown you here to work. So first of all, we have an entry point over 123.10. And I gave you this entry point because if you go on the 2-hour time frame, right, we're forming a very small micro bull flag here after this very nice impulse run up, right, which was on Thursday, last Thursday, and you guys saw that bullish engulfing candlestick forming on Thursday, and this is what caused it, right? We were just going straight up. And so, in order for us to cleanly break over this 2-hour bull flag, this micro bull flag, we need to get over this 1, 2, 3 whole number level. And seen here in the past, we have used it as a very significant level of intraday resistance and a very significant level of intraday support right around here. Okay, so if we're able to go over 123, we should be able to reach 124, which is my next major level of intraday resistance. And you guys can clearly see here, we have a conversion point of this descending level of resistance and at this horizontal level of resistance at 124. So this convergence point will be very, very important. Now, if you guys want to avoid this 1, 2, 3 early entry level, you guys can simply just move up $1 at 124 and use that as your level of entry. But personally for me, I think we'll get a great entry at 123, which is the reason why I gave you this early entry point. Now, here is the real kicker. Okay, if you guys want to avoid every single price action or volatility that happens somewhere around here as we're conforming to this descending level of resistance or overall this descending channel chart pattern, okay, you can wait until the price comes back to the daily level of resistance at $126, 126. This will be the major level of resistance that we need to get over in order to continue this broader uptrend that we've been seeing after that huge breakout over that $108 that we caught, right? And so obviously, if you guys really just want to avoid that price volatility or that price consolidation, and I truly believe that we'll continue to consolidate until we get a retest of this daily 50 SMA, which isn't far off as it ended at $116.05 on Friday. Okay, seen right here on the top left, right? Uh, you know, at some point, I expect the price to retest the daily 50 SMA and continue to conform to this descending channel, or maybe it will be a falling wedge by that time. Who knows? But once we do that, and again, if you guys want to completely avoid all that price volatility, just wait until we see a retest at 126 and potentially a breakout over to 126, right? And so again, this week, hopefully we can get a nice entry point over 123, especially with the big tech strength that we saw last week or in the latter half of last week, since we only had 4 trading days. Okay, so hopefully we can get that nice entry point, and if we do at 123, you guys can start taking profits out at the retest of 124 and at this convergence point, and wait to see if the price will start to break out from 124, and then ultimately our profit target will be 126 from that 123 entry point, giving us that nice $3 profit from our entry point. Right, so our last but not least name is EE. So I mentioned this in the market summary, so make sure you guys read the market summary first. So EE here has been seeing some decreased volume, right? Because again, stocks gradually, especially IPOs, start to lose a lot of interest, which equates to volume. But we are seeing, again, a renewed interest as last week we got a very big surge in volume on Friday. And so with this name here, this energy name, sitting at lows, right? It's at the bottom range here since its IPO days. Okay, this one is still obviously in a very price discovery phase, so expect to see a lot of wicks even on the weekly time frame here, as you guys can clearly see, and on the daily time frame. And so with that in mind, right, since we're sitting at the lows here, there is a chance that we can start reversing back to the upside as we are trying to hold this major level of support at $18.50. So if you do see another retest at $18.50, right, at 18.50, okay, that will be a great entry point for a long to the upside. That's the reason why I said long bounce. This is a mistake here. Long bounce at $18.50, right? But if you want to avoid all of that fuzz, right, you guys can get an entry point over $21, right? This will be over the daily 50 SMA and over this descending level of resistance. Okay, this will still be considered an early entry point, and here's the reason why. Okay, so if you want to avoid every single price volatility that could come over 21 or even under 21, you guys can wait until we see an entry point over $22. Okay, so this is a very significant level that has been used as a level of support and as a level of resistance in the past. So if you want to avoid practically every price volatility underneath $22 here, as shown right over here, okay, this entire area, okay, I'm just kind of doodling here now, all right, look for an entry point over $22 and we can see a huge short squeeze like move over to the upside, right? So let me erase this again, right? Now with EE here, right, this is going to be a bit speculative here, due to what I've told you guys and the information that I've given you in the market summary, but this can be a very, very lucrative play for us. In the past, we had a very nice return here. We had a very nice triple digit over the night return on EE. All right, this is a very, very nice day to swing trade EE. So I expect to see another big breakout out of this descending level of resistance, just like we did in the past. Okay, so obviously the size is completely different. This is kind of a micro descending level of resistance compared to this macro descending level of resistance. Okay, so again, I can add the long entry point here if you guys want me to. Okay, but again, if you really want that confirmation entry point, just look for an entry point over $22. Especially if you guys want to avoid all this fuzz here, right? All this price volatility underneath $22. All right, so that is it for this week. Hopefully this TA video was very insightful, so make sure you guys leave a like down below, and if you aren't subscribed yet, I don't know why you guys won't be subscribed yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and most importantly, hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a video or when I am live. Good luck, and I'll see you all tomorrow in the morning.